it's me Lauren with Bold Motion Quilting, and welcome to our Ice Dyed Free Motion Quilting Mandala class. So I'm super excited to finally do this class. This class has been in the making for a couple of years. I've been dying to get to it and life gets in the way, but I'm super excited to get started on it now. We have a couple of different ice dyed mandalas that we're going to go through, and I wanted to take a minute to kind of share with you what to expect with the class, as well as items and materials that you'll need to be most successful while you're taking the class. So while we're in the class, there's a couple of things that I want you to consider. This is a skill builder class. What that means is that you can watch and participate, or you can just watch. I'm going to show you how to go through. I've got 5 different ice dyed mandalas here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I map out and treat each one of those mandalas. It was important to me to have a couple different styles of them to show you because, as you know, ice dyed mandalas, none of them are the same. I really wanted to do this as a panel-based class where we could work on a structured project and just map out and do that project, but as the class developed, I realized that this really needs to be a skill that you build on as opposed to a one-trick pony where you learn how to do one mandala or one mandala construct. And so I wanted to kind of give you options so that you could go through and figure out what's going to speak to your soul and to your individual ice dyed piece, because the colors and the shapes of the ice dye make all the difference. So let me show you the few ice dye panels that I have gone through in class so you can kind of get a feel for what they look like in order to kind of gauge what to expect. For this class, the materials that you're going to need to be most successful are going to be an ice dyed panel or piece. We will be working with a 22-inch panel for all of these. You can see all of these are this 22-inch size, okay? And I'll be working on those in class, but I will have a video on tips and tricks for how to expand beyond the 22 inches because I know it can be really easy to follow along with a class and with concepts for one particular size, and then when you get past that, it's so easy to be like, oh no, what do I do now? And so we're going to cover that, and we're going to give you some tips to help you be successful. So you're going to need an ice dyed mandala. You're going to need a couple of threads to match your mandala, okay? And make sure that you have enough thread to put in your top and in your bobbin for best tension results, or you can, use one color bobbin along the whole back like I did here, okay? Or you can keep your threads consistent with what you're stitching on the top and see what that looks like on the back as well, just so you can get a feel for that. So you'll definitely need threads, you'll need a machine, all the normal thread snips and everything else. And then to be most successful in class, to be able to get the most out of it and be able to do at least one mandala, you're going to need one curved ruler and one straight ruler at the very least to do the designs. Okay, and this is because you're not following along with just one particular design that I'm doing, but you can pick and choose and create a design of your own to use the tools that you have, which is always my goal in class. The next thing that you're definitely going to want to have is the 14-inch the 14-inch mandala full-line stencil, which you can get on boldmotionquilting.com. I've got these. You can see, that it's just about the entire size of your mandala, right, when we get going, to give you a nice center element, and then we can work on borders and frames. And then you'll need purple air and water soluble and blue water soluble marking tools and a pounce pad kit with the pounce pad and the chalk powder, and I recommend the white one to have the best results to be able to use your stencil. At a minimum, this is what you need to just do the class and to create a design to work on your own, okay? If you're going to take the class and do the stencil design that I've included, okay, so I have created a design template for you to be able to mark and map and quilt on your own. You can basically copy it onto here and then quilt it, okay? Now the map is plain in that it doesn't have the fillers of the feathers and the swirls. Those are things that you can add, but it does have all of the skeletons, all of these fillers in the circles. It's got this swirl filler in here in the middle, plus all of the scallops and the pebbles, as well as all the pebbles on the outside. You can kind of see that a little bit better here as far as the design. Okay, so this is a stencil that I've included a template in class. It's not a stencil, it's a template. You have to print it out and copy it onto your panel. Okay, and then the next thing that you need to be successful with this stencil is this nested oval rulers. These are 1/4 inch thick so that you can use them on your long arm machine. You can also use them on any sit-down quilting machine. If you have a low shank machine, you may not be able to get this behind the foot, but I was using the side and the front of my foot for most of what I was doing. But these oval templates are the right size and shape to work this mandala design as easily as possible on your machine. Okay, so if you're going to do the stencil that's included with the class, you definitely want to have this nested circle oval set of rulers to go with it. Other optional materials that you can have for class, definitely want to have a mandala. I'm going to show you all kinds of different examples for how you can utilize these stencils. Okay, so we've got the radiating line stencil, which allows you to make radiating lines and rays. This will be especially more helpful on the larger pieces that you're using because these rays can extend a lot larger than the 14-inch mandala rays. We've got the Machine Quilters Guide Large, which will help you make block and structured style designs, as well as some intricate block-looking flowers, and again, we're going to talk about that in class. And then we also have the smaller Machine Quilters Stencil Guide, which is a smaller block and then a border section for you to be able to use in class as well. All right, and then you also want to have an inch marking device of some kind. You can get the nested circle rulers. These nested diamond rulers are just template rulers. They're 1/8 of an inch thick, but they can help you to make some really cool star-based designs. And then we've got the nested circle rulers, which I use a lot on all of the different mandalas that I am quilting to show you. So those are definitely tools that you want to consider getting. There's only a few that you need that are required. And then if you want to do more than one kind of mandala, I suggest you get the other tools that are available to purchase below the class at a discount with the when you purchase it with the class, so that you can save a little bit of money and get some different tools to work some different mandala designs. So without further ado, let me show you the cool mandalas that we are going to do in class. So this is, I haven't named them all. I really should have named them, but this is my chartreuse looking one. This is an example of doing thick line designs as you're quilting in a contrasting color thread and then coming in and filling with thread that blends or that matches. You can see a better example of all of the lines on the back. There are going to be videos on how to select your thread, how to find spaces to accent your quilting in, and also videos on how your batting interacts with your fabric in order to get the best results when you're quilting. Okay. This is gator tail. There's a lot of intricate, dense thread work here. You might be able to see it a little bit better on the back. This is an abstract example of how to do an ice-dyed piece that isn't necessarily a mandala that radiates out. Again, these are all concepts and skill builders that I wanted to really just discuss with you and show you so that by the time you go to do your mandala, you feel confident that you have enough knowledge to work and create a design that's all your own. This one I haven't named yet. Maybe I'll call her Rosie. She's got a group of roses, but I essentially just used the die sections in this, and I quilted this one on the machine with my, basically with just my curved ruler and my border buddy circle ruler and my inch marking. And I did this one at the machine and showed you how to kind of just use the die in your piece to speak to you and to quilt and to create designs on top of each other. So throughout this whole process, you're going to watch me kind of think and create. This was the first one that I did for class, and just kind of builds on all of the knowledge and things that we're going to work on. Okay, and this one is cool because it's glow in the dark. I'll share a picture of the glow in the dark on there. I used glow in the dark thread to make this one. I thought it'd be really cool that way. But again, this is the stencil and the template, so we're going to talk about using a stencil to mark on your piece, and then we're going to follow it for the quilting. This one we talk about dividing and designing odd shapes and manipulating your tools to get those odd shapes to work. So for this one, I used my retro block ruler to make these designs, okay, and my nested circle ruler to make the designs. So it's important to learn how to manipulate and use your tools to get the designs that you're working with. Okay, this one I just used the die lots. You may or may not be able to tell because I used the die portions of the panel, but these arches are not all symmetrically measured out and the same. I just went with the die on my panel. Okay, this one we used the mandala stencil guide to create a mandala radiating out, and we did it from the corners, and then I just accented the glowing parts in the middle. And then this one we built on the center, and we practiced mapping and marking with your marking pens and a rotary ruler to get those designs in there and to get them quilted. So a lot of this is just kind of a mark and map and plan as you go, because it's important to think about what different dyed sections and empty sections are going to impact your piece. It was really important to me that we work on doing this as a concept and a skill builder, as opposed to doing this as just one particular mandala that we're going to map and we're going to design. So during the course of this journey, we're going to talk about how the color of your mandala can impact your design choices, your batting selections, your thread selections, as well as we're going to go over some worksheets for some simple design constructs that you can use with simple line work or curved line work with your rulers, or fillers. For instance, if you want to put feathers here but you can't do feathers, maybe do this instead. Or if you can't do pebbles, try this instead. And so the goal is to get you thinking about, hey, what designs do I have in my library and what can I use to be successful at making a mandala right now at this stage in my quilting journey? And just dive into it, and dive into it with confidence, knowing that you'll be able to do it. So I hope that you can watch these videos and take all of the bits of information that are really going to speak to you and speak to your style of quilting and to the kind of mandala that you want to create, and I hope that you create a masterpiece when you're all done. I'm really excited to see what y'all do with the class, and I cannot wait to get started.